So, good evening. Welcome into kind of a late night edition of Hidden Gem Sports Scouting live stream interviews. I'm here with a brand new client. We are honored to have Dallas Dixon with us, former Northern Michigan, Central Michigan wide receiver. He's already played a season of professional football in the Arena Football League with the Billings, Montana Outlaws. Dallas is 6'2", 212, 215,
Yep,
correct?
212, 215.
Big outside receiver. We connected through a coach with Billings who we had seen Dallas through the Europlayers website, connected with a coach from the Montana Billings team. And we all kind of had a chance to speak with Dallas and really impressed with his film. You spent a couple years at one place, a couple years at another. I know you and I were talking offline briefly before this. Talk a little bit about, tell everybody, I should say this, watching a little bit about how you went from Northern Michigan to Central Michigan. You already told me, I know the story, but tell everybody else that's watching.
Um, Originally got recruited to Northern Michigan University 2017. As I'm being recruited, of course, they told me they were pass first team, pass 60, run 40. And within the first 2 years, we were definitely like a pass 20, pass 10, run 80, run 90% of the time. And it just didn't really work out too well. Ended up having one of my exit meetings with the head coach there, and he kind of lit a fire under me in the aspect of it wasn't kind words during that exit meeting. Where are you gonna go? Who's gonna pick you up? You barely did anything here. So I'm like, okay, by any means, if that's how you feel, I'll take my shot walking on somewhere. And at the time, again, just the broke college student, so didn't have much. Didn't even have a way to get to Central Michigan University, but that was the closest Division One, and I knew they were the type of team to host tryouts for walk-ons and such like that. So I took my shot, paid my last $50 to a friend, and she was able to take me down and drop me off there. And I was originally a nursing student at Northern, and I enjoyed that, but when I got to Central, they didn't have a nursing program, so I switched to psychology.
Now,
But
you told me offline, it was a lot of hours studying and trying to manage that with football, and it was just you felt like it was kind
just
of
too
too
much.
much to juggle at that time.
Yeah, staying up until like 4 a.m. every day, studying for nursing school, and then waking up at 6 a.m., going to film and practice, and it was just I couldn't handle it at that point. But after those 2 seasons at Northern, I decided to make the switch, walk on to Central Michigan, and from there it was just a grind, working my way up the ladder. Got there within that first semester. I got up to second string. Seniors ahead of me got up to second string. We were about to have our spring game, and I found out I had to sit out. This was before the one-time transfer rule eligibility. So I found out I had to sit out. So I spent a year just perfecting my craft, doing anything I can to, whenever my time it was to come, I'd be ready for it. And from there, I was able to earn a starting spot and kept my starting spot throughout the 3 years I was eligible to play.
So
yeah.
why Northern Michigan though? Like you could have probably had an opportunity with a lot of different schools. What was so unique about Northern Michigan that like you just kind of settled and said, this is where I want to be?
Just at first it was a treatment, that's how they hook you. At first, again, it was a pass 60, run 40. You have a lot of opportunities to get the ball in your hands. We have good facilities here. What they showed me around, the dome they had, the field and all, it looked really impressive, really nice to me. And then also they were offering, of course, a good athletic scholarship to me. Had a couple D1s coming out of high school. They weren't full rides. They were more like walk-on offers and such like that. And I wanted a little bit of stability in that instance there. Not that I didn't have the confidence to go D1 or walk on, but again, financially speaking, I didn't have the funds for anything. Wasn't trying to take out too much in student loans, put my mom in a bad situation, or anything like that. So I decided on Northern Michigan, especially with how they sold it, with the opportunity to have the ball in my hands a lot. And again, there was a few, besides that exit meeting, the coaches treated people real well. I've dealt with my fair share of coaches, and they treated people like humans. They wanted to see you grow. They wanted to see you develop in the game. So that was key to me.
You were a 3-year letter winner at Central Michigan. And then obviously you had some awards and honors. When you sent me your paperwork and I was building your profile page, there was, just one or two things. And so as I start researching and really kind of, because I always research and try to make sure I verify, hey, there's an article, there's a list, I can see his name. Okay, yeah, when I put that in front of a GM or a coach or whoever, I can legitimately say I have proof that he earned that, and so I stumbled across a lot more things. 2021, you were an All-MAC third team. You earned Phil Steele fourth team offensive honors. 22, you were on the Athlon Sports preseason second team All-MAC offense. You were on the 2022 PFF college preseason second team All-MAC. 2022 Pro Football Network preseason All-MAC honorable mention. And then obviously you were invited to the Tropical Bowl. So you actually had some more awards and honors that you didn't list that I was able to come across and make note of. Did you just not know about those things, or did you just kind of a guy that doesn't brag on yourself? Or
I'd like to say I'm a humble guy, but at the same time, some of those things that you see, and I'm like, I don't remember. I remember seeing some things back in, back before 2022 in the preseason, and I remember seeing some things, but at the time, I just brushed it off. Like it's more so about proving myself in the here and now than it is about preseason. Like he could do this, he could do that,
Yeah, but I mean, they're acknowledging the fact that you're a talented football player.
Oh, of course.
They're acknowledging you're walking in the door as a guy that really has some potential to do great things. I mean, I still think that's a huge honor to be recognized. You talked about Northern Michigan. A couple things I noticed, which obviously you've got the do-rag on, so can't really tell, but your Northern Michigan headshot, you had some hair. You had some kind of lengthy hair.
Oh, I got long hair.
You still sporting the long hair?
Oh yeah, it's back there. It's in there.
Okay. Okay. I couldn't tell because you had the do-rag on, so I wasn't sure.
A little messy right now, so I figured I'd put it up.
You had kind of the ponytail look, I guess, in your headshot picture. You had it all nice and pulled back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got some messy braids right now.
Gotcha.
If I can't do the hair, I always put something on my head. I feel like it looks a lot better than just having my hair out and looking wild. Like I don't take care of myself.
Okay, that's all right. Hey, you get a little older, you just shave it like this, and that's all I have to do. I just run my hand right over my head, and I'm done. Don't need a brush or a comb or nothing.
Hoping to sport the hair for as long as possible.
I can grow hair, but having been in the military, I got used to it being short, and so once a week I get clippers and Mach 3 razor, and sides and the back get shaved bald, and a little bit of hair on top. So by now, going into Friday, I've got a little bit of peach fuzz growing back. So for church on Sunday, it'll be cut and trimmed up again. There's a couple that sits behind us I've known since I was a young kid, and the husband, he'll sit right behind me, and he'll take his hand and run it across my head, and he's like, "Boy, it's like your hair's growing out. You need a haircut." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So,
oh goodness.
But at Northern Michigan, I mean, you had some production there. I mean, you had 450 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 catches in 2 seasons. Your longest catch was 80 yards. You averaged 20 and a half yards per catch. I mean, those are some pretty respectable numbers right there. And then you go into Central Michigan, again, pretty highly touted. They're expecting big things. What was your mindset going in there? Which, I mean, obviously you come in during COVID, so what was that like, trying to figure out how things were going to go down and what was going to happen or not happen? Like, how did you manage the day-to-day football life and keeping your mind focused and keeping a positive mindset, I guess?
Well, as a walk-on, I always got something to prove, In an aspect of when you're walking on, the team does treat you a little different. Like you don't belong at first, like until you prove yourself to them, you're just another person here, So there's that aspect of it, but also the aspect of me refusing to take a back seat to anybody. Like I'm gunning for your spot. Don't mess up. Like I'm right here. I'm not gonna mess up. You can't mess up because I'm right here. Like once you get your spot taken, I'm not giving it back. So there was that aspect of it, and there was the aspect of I felt like I already had 2 years under my belt at the college level. Although going from D2 to D1, the game speed's just a little different. But again, I felt like I've already not wasted, but I already used 2 years of my 4 eligibility, so I only had 2 more years to perform, to shine in order to take the next step and go professional somewhere. So an aspect of I have to take advantage of all the utilities possible. I have to take advantage of the field on the open time. I have to take advantage of the weight room, being in there extra time. And I was a smaller frame dude back then. So taking advantage of the meal plan, the housing, like everything possible, learning from some of the older guys in the way they do things and the way they move and the way they cut and the way they work out, just soaking up everything possible. And especially, again, being a walk-on, it's like until you proved yourself that you deserve to be here, they treat you like you don't deserve to be there. And to me, I refuse to be looked down upon in that aspect there. I know I'm a talented player. I know I'm good. I know I can perform. So it was just about me going out there and doing what I know I can do.
When did the moment happen when you realized, hey, I can play at this level and I can be pretty damn good doing it too?
It was during that first semester I was there after I just walked on. Again, walking on, pick up the cones, you're a walk on. You got this corner locker, you're a walk on. And it got to a point where I'm doing so good. I'm working my way up the depth chart. I got to the second string, found out during the spring game that I had to sit out. And a little shortly after practice there, I'm going so hard on scout team, play after play after play. They're literally telling me, like, Dallas, calm down. You can't be jumping over players like this. Like, Dallas, calm down. Like, and I was going up to get the ball on our starters. They got games coming up, and to me, I didn't think of it as like, I'm not gonna hurt my guys by any means, but I didn't think of it as like, oh, I'm gonna let you catch this ball because you're a starter and you have a game coming up. I'm like, no, I'm giving you real competition as a scout team player. So when you get on the field and you go against other people, you could think back and be like, well, we got a scout team player who play better than this. This is easy, And it got to a point where I'm constantly going at it so much, going up for balls, and they're telling me like Dallas, it's okay. You can calm down a little bit. You don't have to catch everything that comes your way. And I'm looking at coach like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a ball hawk. I'm gonna get it. Like, I deserve, you know what I mean? Regardless of whether I'm on scout team or not, like I'm gonna give you something to work on every single time, every single play. So that's when it really clicked to me. So after that, I was just diligently grinding, waiting for my opportunity to actually get on the field.
I'm glad you mentioned scout team because I ran across an article. Obviously, we try to put some articles on the news page about you. How CMU quarterback Daniel Richardson, wide receiver Dallas Dixon created their chemistry. And I read the article, and something stood out to me, and your film backs it up. But um, they talked to Coach McElwain, um, and then it talks about with your scout team performance. However, you became tough to forget. And then it says after the 19th season, Dixon got a scholarship and roster spot. Um, and they talked, they quoted your QB, who said we were on the team already, but once we got to top dogs, I said we got to do what we got to do. My thing is when you get your opportunities, you have to make plays, and that's really what Dixon is. He's a playmaker. So that was from your QB. What's your response to what your QB had to say about you?
I mean, that's all love. He made it. He made it possible. The way he worked, the way he again, we were grinding so much during the off season, during scout team. It was a clear connection. It was at that point when we finally got to starters, finally got to being able to play in live games. The connection was there. He put it in the right place. He trusted me to come down with it, and that's what I did. And it just grew from there. And he's a phenomenal quarterback. One of the best I've ever played with, honestly. Like off the ball was there at the turn my head because I know the ball's gonna be there at the end of my cut, or you know what I mean, on the fade routes, put the head down and just drive because I know it's gonna drop in the pocket. So he kind of at the same time he made my life easy, knowing that I didn't have to worry too much about if this is gonna be a messed up ball. Do I got to really do this? Do I got to really do that? Like it was there for the most part, especially with that connection that we had. And again, a phenomenal quarterback.
He
Much love.
mentioned in the article, he even said that he said me and Dallas go way back from scout team. I mean, man, since 2019, we were killing our defense and scout team.
Yeah.
So y'all were kind of bullying the ones, huh?
We really were. We really were. And again, it was to the point where calm down, like let them catch it. Like, no, coach, I'm not doing it. Like,
But I think that that's the mentality you have to have as a scout team player. I mean, if and I can think back to the movie Rudy. If you've ever seen the movie Rudy,
oh yes,
um,
yeah.
it was kind of the same thing. He was undersized. He would come around the campus, do different things, trying to let people know, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. Yeah, okay, whatever. And they kind of gaff him off, and he's right outside practice, and they come off the field, and the coaches pretty much ignore him. And so when he finally had a chance to walk on and get on the field with the big time players, he's looks like a dwarf against those guys. But the thing was he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't. He was almost kind of like the nickname of the dogs, the Chihuahuas. They call them ankle biters.
Mm-hmm.
He just kept coming. He kept biting ankles. He kept biting ankles, and finally the veterans were like, "Dude, you got to knock it off." And kind of what you said. He pretty much said too, and in the movie he even told him, "If I don't do my job on scout team, I'm not helping prepare you for Saturday." So you pretty much had the same mentality. Like, I'm doing my job. I'm preparing you to be on the field Saturday.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially again with the thought process of I'm going to be the hardest receiver you go against. So whenever you do have to go against somebody in a game, you can sit there and be like, "This is nothing." We got a scout team player who does 3 times as much as you could do right now. Like this is easy. And again, just know, like you can't take it easy. You can't take it easy. You can't take a back seat. You just got to go for it. And any chance you get, whether it's scout team or in game, you got to go for it.
And so that developed you a reputation with coaches that while they may have not necessarily had you on the radar like the guy, it was kind of hard not to have you on the radar as the guy because you wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
You just kept coming.
There's so many weeks I got Scout Team Player of the Week over and over again. Special Team Scout Team Player of the Week, Offensive Player Scout Team Player of the Week, like over and over again. Nothing. Again, they couldn't forget about me in that case.
Right. And that's how
to the aspect of where they offered me that full ride and then they were able to pay for the semester before, knowing that I was already in debt, thinking like I got to get a job, and they're like, we don't want you to have to worry about that. Like, we'll take care of it. Just continue to do your job, continue to do what you can. And they took care of me in that aspect for sure.
I mean, like I said, reverting back to that movie, that was kind of the same thing in a sense for Rudy. I mean, his persistence and his relentlessness and his unwillingness to quit earned the respect of his teammates, to where when the new coach came in and didn't uphold a promise to dress him, his whole team went to bat for him. They all put their jerseys down and said, he can dress for me, and forced the hand of the coach to uphold the promise and dress him for one game so that he could be acknowledged on the roster as an official member. And I think that's a huge thing because, like, your situation, you already knew you could play. They're looking at you. Here's this D2 guy. Who does he think he is? And you just keep coming. You keep coming. You keep coming. You won't let off. And they're telling you, hey, calm down. And you're like, no, I'm not a chance. Not a chance. I'm not calming down. And so here you are, you and your QB beating up on the scout team, and you get a full scholarship. I mean, that's the whole reward at the end of the rainbow, so to speak. I mean, that's why you're there. So I commend you for that. I think that's a huge thing that GMs and coaches and player personnel directors need to know, that you're that kind of dog. You're really about that life, as you young guys like to say.
Oh yeah.
And so, you start to rack up awards and honors, and then, just looking at your career numbers, I mean, you play 19 games there, 64 catches, you end up with over 1,000 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. You put that with your 450 from Northern Michigan, you're looking at roughly 1,500 yards in 5 years. Those are pretty respectable numbers overall. 11 touchdowns total. Not bad numbers. What do you think about your overall college production?
Of course, we all got regrets. I wish I was able to get the ball in my hands more. Okay. I made the most of what was given to me, of course, but it wasn't, again, my first 2 years of college, we weren't passing the ball much, so I hardly did anything. I felt like I hardly did anything at Northern. But the balls I did get, like you said, my Northern 80-yard long reception, I took a drive to the house. I did a little drive route, took it 80 yards to the house, ran my butt off. And it's stuff like that I had to do in order to make my production where it was. We had some very talented people with me at Central Michigan, Ja'Cory Sullivan, Khalil Pimpleton. And they were mainly the go-to guys. They were there for all 4 years, already in the system and stuff like that. Me trying to work my way into the system, I was second read, third read, but whatever opportunity, whenever the ball got in my hands, I got as many yards as possible, did as much as possible in that aspect. I wasn't, again, I'm behind 2 upperclassmen, and I'm trying to work my way in the mix and stuff like that. And I'm coming from scout team, so it was a little bit difficult in that aspect of being a pass to him first type of dude. But it just played within the system. Whatever they needed me to do, I did. It made the most of every opportunity given to me. Just no regrets in that aspect. Just wish I had more opportunities is all.
You talked about Northern Michigan. You guys didn't throw the ball a lot.
No, not at all.
At Central Michigan, what type of offensive system were you operating out of? And I'm curious, and I do remember watching some games while McElwain was there. I probably watched you on national TV. And the reason I tuned in, your other QB, Quentin Dormady, came up there from the University of Tennessee. I'm a lifelong Vols fan, born and raised in the state. And so, and McElwain was a coach from down south. I'll just say that. It's a place that we don't really like. He was a Gator. I hate to say that word, but I did tune into some games. So were you guys in a spread, or what type of system were you working out of?
A bit of spread for my junior and senior seasons. You talk about Quentin. He was graduating when I got there. Okay. We ended up having David Moore. First year I was able to be there on scout team, and he was a pretty good quarterback, but we ran a bit of spread, a bit of I formation there. And we had some power backs with us too.
Okay.
Lou Nichols and Kobe. I don't remember his last name. Lou Nichols and Kobe, though, they're very talented running backs, and so we ran the ball quite a bit also. So we ran so many formations and packages there that you just had to be versatile. You had to be able to play slot. I was down on the line in the 3-point stance sometimes, and yeah, like just you had to be able to do it all. Slot outside on the line there too. Just so we ran quite a bit of packages. Just had to be versatile in everything you did. We ran the ball quite a lot too, especially with the power backs we had. But the ball was also in the air quite a bit and spread. And just being able to move around in different types of areas, being able to be versatile, just kept you on the field the most.
So with that I formation, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. That's what we ran way back when, was the I formation, wishbone, power I, offset I, things like that.
All sorts. Again, we had so many packages, like they could just. It was impressive to me how much. How versatile our offense became in that aspect, especially because you had so many players you can get the ball in the hands to, and let them go to work. So when in that aspect, we ran all types of different power and wishbone and spread, just all of them. You had to be so versatile in there.
How did you feel about having to block? Part of the receiver's job is sometimes blocking and showing that they can be physical and just really, again, having that dog mentality, coming out of your stance, getting hold of a DB and running him down the field and then dumping him on his back or on the sideline. Like, did you enjoy that as much as you did catching touchdown passes? Or
I loved it. Oh man, imposing your will on somebody is so fun to me. It sounds messed up, but to me it's so fun. And me and the other receivers had we'd make bets with each other. Like if I can get a pancake before you buy me dinner. So we'd go at it every single play, trying to get somebody on the ground. And especially when I was again on the line in the 3-point stance, I had to chip the D in. All I could think about is let me please put a D in on his butt. To me, it's a reward. It's fun to me, But also in that aspect, it's just doing your job at the end of the day. You're not a good receiver if you can't block, right? And so it's about being able to catch the ball, run with the ball, rack after, yak, yards after catch and stuff like that, but also handling your job blocking so that your teammate can succeed in the same instance there. So it was just to me, it's a part of the game. It's a part of the fun. It's a part of your responsibilities as a good receiver. And again, the fun of, by the end of the game, looking in the eyes of a DB and them not wanting you to touch him, them trying to juke around the whole time. And you're like, come here, stop running. I'm going to get my hands on you. So I found it enjoyable in all aspects there.
Do you have a memorable moment with a DB that you just manhandled in a game at Central Michigan?
There were quite a few. But I just remember one Robert Morris. I remember one loud, you know how DBs get with the
Oh
talking
yeah,
and stuff like
they're
that. And
talkers.
I'm not on the field. I don't like when I'm on the field. I'm focused. I don't do too much talking.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
do it between. I'll show you more than I'll tell you. So just remember one. We ran a toss right, and I'm on the outside, and I get my hands on this DB and push him all the way into. Um, we had these heated seats that AB, uh, the old Steelers receiver AB, he
Oh, Antonio
donated to.
Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown. We had these heated seats that Antonio Brown donated to us, and I just remember making him take a seat there and telling him enjoy the heat. Like
You told him to enjoy the heat when you put him on the bench.
I find it. I mean, it's a part of the game. You know what I mean? Like
Hey,
especially if you're gonna be one of those DBs who just yap off. Like I'm not gonna do too much talking, but I'm gonna show you more than I tell you. And by the end of the game, again, the look in his eyes was like, I'm tired of this. Like he
hey,
can do it all, and he's trying to put me on the ground every time. I'm tired of it. Like
that's a major component though of the receiver resume, and that's one thing we find with a lot of receivers when we look at their film. They forgot to put any
yeah,
clips to demonstrate that one, you're willing to block. Two, you can be a dog while blocking. You can
yeah,
be
yeah.
physical. And I always taught that to receivers, and then running backs. There's four components, and so when I watch film, I always tell them like, "Hey, that's great. You got all this film making these big plays, but you failed to get the other component on there. Do you not want GMs to see the other part of your game?" Oh, well, I didn't know I was supposed to put that on there. I'm like, yeah, those are the two major components of the receiver resume. Like, they want to see those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the running back, it's run the ball at a high level, making big plays, being a receiver out of the backfield, being a receiver from the slot position, and again, being willing to block and pass protection and being physical while blocking. So there's four components for a running back. I'll get running back film and it's just run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, make great plays. I'm like, where's the other three components? Well, I didn't think about putting those clips in there. I didn't have room. Well, you got to really pick and choose and put it all together because now for a running back to be considered by professional coaches and GMs and all these different people as a complete back, you got to have all four components in there to demonstrate that, or they'll identify you as a scat back or first down back or first and second down back or whatever. So it's very important to show those things. So I was curious to know your opinion about blocking. It sounds like you had a huge memorable moment, and that makes me think about the movie Remember the Titans. And of course, being a coach and a scout, I'm a huge football movie person, but when Julius, when Coach Yost turned the defense loose when the referees were cheating intentionally, he told him he didn't want him to gain another yard all night. When Julius and the other linebacker hit that I believe it was a QB or whatever, put him on the ground. He told him, he said, "Stay down there. You better get comfortable because that's where you're going to be all night." Sounds like to
Oh,
me you kind of have one of those moments. You put him over on the seats and said, "Get comfortable. It's where you're going to be most of the night."
yeah, I find it enjoyable in that aspect too.
I love it.
Again, to me, it's mainly just doing your job. You get your job done, the whole team succeeds in that aspect. You do your 111th, the running backs are better off. Defense comes up, crowds the box. We go deep. Like it just helps the game in general for us to be able to be a versatile team like that.
I love it. I think that's huge. And it's something I want to make sure we emphasize in this, talking about that aspect of your game. Um, and I think, again, kind of looking back at the accolades and the awards and honors that you know you were not you were noted for. I think that's a huge thing. I think that speaks to your skills and abilities and really the importance to the offense that you were. I mean, you were recognized as being that guy. Your QB made it very clear, that you were a playmaker, that you were that guy. So I think GMs and player personnel directors and coaches and scouts that see this need to know that that's what other people thought about you, was that you were that guy,
Yeah.
and that you had that kind of great potential. So um, let's talk a little bit about once the career came to an end at Central Michigan. What happened coming out of Central Michigan as far as NFL attention, the draft, CFL? I mean, you've got NFL size, obviously. Um, what happened moving forward, leaving Central Michigan?
Um, Part of me feels as if I didn't make the right choice in the representation at first. Uh, Seemed like my agent was a bit focused on another offensive lineman at the time, Jake Witt, 6'8" dude, like 315, could move like a 4'8" something 40. Just a well-rounded player coming out of Marquette, Michigan, and just seemed like the emphasis wasn't on me in that aspect at all. He gave me a list of there at first when it first started. There was a lot of teams, undrafted free agent, rookie mini camp invite potential. He was talking to a lot of teams for me, but as it came closer to draft time and such like that, just didn't really hear from him too much. And then eventually the kind of communication between me and him died down. And I at that point, it was like me trying to advocate for myself in that instance. I personally don't have any connects to the league. I don't know any scouts numbers, any scouts emails. I couldn't send my own information out in that aspect. So it got a bit difficult being able to advocate for myself in general, especially knowing that my agent at the time, I didn't feel like he was going to bat for me much. Especially, again, seeing at the beginning before the draft, like I had a list of teams that were interested in me, and then all of a sudden, just dead silence from my agent. Hardly can get a text back, hardly can get a message. It became a bit difficult. And after he stopped communicating with me so much, I just I tried to take whichever route I could in order for me to continue playing football. Did a couple of those tryouts for the CFL where you got to pay like $250 to even get there, and those felt like money grabs. And again, it just became a bit difficult in that aspect.
Yeah, you were, and choice of representation is always vital. We talk to every athlete about the different forms of representation, what's available to you, when you need one versus the other, if you need one versus the other, who normally falls into the parameters of one group and this group, and their kind of their typical backgrounds. Um, Adequate representation can make or break you sometimes, especially with the UFL, CFL, NFL. If you don't have somebody that has those connects and can actually talk to those people and knows how to evaluate you and project you, it can be difficult sometimes. You had a pro day, correct? If I
Yeah.
remember correctly, looking at Draft Scout, I saw your pro day times. Um, so I wrote you down. Let's see. I have you noted at 4.56. I have you at 4.56 on the 40. According to Draft Scout, you were clocked at a 4.56, 4.64, and a 4.68. Typically, the NFL looks for about a 4.55 minimum for receivers. So you're right there in the ballpark. And obviously, I know, I haven't been a coach and doing this as long as I have. 40 times typically get slower the more times you run it because you're just gassing yourself. So second and third time, some people would say, okay, well, maybe he's a 4.6 guy. Could be. Usually, what they do is they give you that time in the middle of the road. So, not the 4.56, not the 4.68. They take the one in the middle, and they say, okay, well, he's kind of a 4.6 guy. Are you currently with your off-season program? Are you doing anything to specifically focus on speed, or?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
This the regular outdoors, get out, get off, my regular sprints, my regular, just all of that. This was 3 months post surgery, 4 months post surgery after I had a surgery for my AC joint and stuff like that. So it was kind of difficult in that aspect there, trying to get myself back to playing speed, back to regular speed, especially expecting to get another year back in college, and that the NCAA not approving that. So didn't get my year back. Most of my workout routines and stuff like that throughout CMU for my recovery had nothing to do with me running at all. Of course, I was in a sling for so long and trying to go
Right.
through the movements of getting my arm to move back to normal and stuff like that. So I'm not making excuses or nothing, but that's not me. I know I'm a much faster guy than that. If I were to get tested now, it would be a whole different story. But this was like 3-4 months post surgery, trying to get my legs back under me, trying to get my cuts back under me, and everything possible. First, it was building the strength back, in the arms and in the legs, getting my body back to its normal weight and stuff after losing 20-30 pounds, and it was just a whole fiasco of that, trying to get me back to a normal player in general in order to be seen. But yeah, I definitely emphasize a lot on my speed now as I train on a day-to-day basis. Like, that's important to me, making sure I'm up to speed and I'm able to move still. We're able to watch my Billings Outlaws film or something like that. You can see my speed definitely improved from that time. I'm healthy now. I'm much more physically in shape than I was then too. So
You mentioned AC joint injury. Did that happen during the 22 season of Central Michigan,
yeah,
or?
yeah.
Okay. How many games were you out during the season with your
Only
injury?
two. Oh, eight,
8 games.
7 or 8. It was during our second game of the season it happened.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What happened exactly? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit, or?
Running a drag route, low ball, tried to go down for it and catch it near the floor, and DB's right behind me, jumps on my back, and I fall on my shoulder, and there's just too much weight for the shoulder. It came on out.
Popped it.
Yeah.
So you're out about 7 or 8 games. You have surgery. You obviously get invited to the Tropical Bowl. And were you able to attend that, or?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay.
Wasn't in a couldn't do much with the arm.
Right.
Shortly after, again, I'm expecting to have a whole nother year, expecting NCAA to approve it and such like that.
Okay.
So to me, in my mind, I'm like, no, I need to get my body back in shape and ready for next year. I'm not trying to go, and start the draft process just yet, especially coming off the injury and stuff like that. And then it would have been like a month and a half turnaround for the Tropical Bowl. So to me, it was just much more of a risk than anything.
Okay. Now, as far as recovery, now obviously that's 22 going into 23. We're in 25 now. You've played pro ball since then. How is the range of motion and the effectiveness of that shoulder, that arm, the muscle groups? How are you with that?
Oh, I'm back to myself beforehand, if not stronger now. I did my playing weight at Central was around 205, 207, 208. Gained just a few more pounds of muscle to me, and again, I feel like I'm moving pretty well still. but yeah, if it's very strong, it's very sturdy now. And the turnaround for the pro day, the turnaround for the tropical bowl and stuff like that, it just wasn't ideal with getting my body back to normal in that aspect there. Still a little sluggish, still a little just not who I was, at that time. But now
Yeah.
I'm pretty well.
Gotcha. What are you? Does it hinder you like with bench press or
No, not at all.
what's your currently? What's your 225 rep count if you were to get tested today on that?
Um, I think I could hit a solid 18.
18.
I
Okay.
do. I did yesterday morning. I did 275 for 9, I
Okay.
believe. So, I mean, to me, and again, to me, it's pretty. I'm in the gym every day, legs, arms, running, hitting the field, just anything possible to keep my body in shape and ready for whatever opportunity comes. So I can get a solid 18, I believe. But yeah, no,
I just asked because again, now that you've talked about the AC joint, then that explains, um, not just the 40 time, but potentially some other things with your pro day numbers. Because obviously, with that pro day, you hit 14, um, which was still good because at the receiver position, typically they look for around 12. So you were still able to top out that number a little bit. But that's even better if you can get on up to 18, pushing 20. That's much better. And then, looking at um, your 5-10-5, your shuttle, you were clocked at a 4.23. Um, NFL at your position um, is usually around a 4.1, 4.15. So not far off from kind of the parameters of what the NFL would typically look for at your position group. But again, now that you've talked about the AC joint surgery, trying to get back in shape, get your legs underneath you, obviously that explains a lot. And even coming off that turnaround, that's still pretty good. The fact that you were able to post some of those numbers, I think that's pretty respectable. So, um, you know, so you obviously with the injury and things, I'm guessing that the NFL was kind of leery about your health as far as that. They weren't really concerned about production or pro day numbers, more so just the fact that you were injured and how soon will you be healthy and that kind of thing. And then obviously there was a representation potential disconnect a little bit. I'll say that.
yeah.
So, how in the world did you find yourself in the AFL? Talk about that.
Um, I'm thinking my career is over after it all. I'm thinking I have nowhere to go, nothing to do. I started working again, just again doing what I usually do, just work and train, hoping and praying for my next opportunity. Luckily, I have friends or old teammates I connected with still, and one teammate told me like, "Hey, the AFL is opening back up. They're having this arena league, blah blah blah." Um, I was just like, "Yeah, can you send over my film? What can we do? If I could just get on the field somewhere, a tryout, anything. I know I'm making the team. I know I'm a starter." So luckily, I had a camp invite to it. Uh, for the Billings Outlaws, head coach Cedric Walker
Mm-hmm.
made the team starter, of course, and just he was able to get me send over my film, get me in touch with them, so my career wasn't completely dead. I wasn't just sitting on my butt and moping and sad and woe was me. I just tried whatever I could in order to continue this career of some sort. Just get my film out there, and it worked out.
So, how was the adjustment process to the arena game? Because obviously, arena and indoor, 50-yard field, no sidelines. a lot tighter quarters. Routes obviously are adjusted. Typical traditional 3-step slant becomes a 1-step slant. Traditional post 10 to 12, 45-degree angle becomes more of an 8 to 10-yard post. 30, 35-degree angle, more of a skinny post kind of deal. How hard was it for you to kind of adjust your game to more of a confined space?
I don't believe it was that difficult. Once you get used to, it's just playing speed. Just be ready to get hit all the time. Like that's a part of the game too. If you can stay up, keep pushing. If not, then expect there to be a wall or a person, and that's that. Just do your job as a receiver. You still got to block. You still got to catch the ball. You still got to try and get yards after catch. It's all the same in that aspect there. Definitely get your head around, or the ball's going right by you because it's quick. It's bang bang.
Yeah.
But to me, it wasn't that much of an adjustment when you've already dealt with, again, great quarterbacks like Daniel Richardson, where you had to write out that cut. Your head got to be around because the ball's going to be there on time. But yeah, just to me, it wasn't that big of an adjustment. It wasn't that bad. You can't make not as big of plays, but you can't do much dancing. You got to go north and south. Once you catch it, just go.
Yep. Would you say that for some guys, the indoor and arena game is a good developmental tool to maybe break bad habits?
For sure. I would say for receivers who have the habit of not blocking, for one, you got to block or you won't be out there because it's such a confined space. Your dude can make the play in an instant,
Mm-hmm.
And then also you got to be able to cut and get that head around and get your body ready to catch it. Contact catches all the time. Being ready to hit the wall or hit something and maintaining control of the ball at all times. So for those type of bad habits, for receivers who struggle with that, it's a good place to go. Learning some sort of game plan on finding open space within the little holes. If they're somehow playing too deep and then you have a skinny post, you really got to make it skinny and run. Like you can't slow down. You can take the top off the defense. You got to go, in aspects of that. So with certain bad habits, it's definitely a good place to teach you and learn from.
Yeah, and I would say too with the receiver group, if you have some of those guys that like to do all that dancing back and forth, it probably is going to break a little bit of that because you're going to have to make a move and get going. You don't have time to be dancing around and all the head and arms and all that kind of stuff trying to make a move. Like you got to make it and go. Like you got to get a release and get off. I know, like with DBs, if you're not used to playing press man and being physical, the indoor and arena world is going to make you have to learn to play press man and be physical and put hands on people. I know for linebackers, it's good in a sense because I worked with a guy several years back from Texas Tech, and he always had a bad habit of instead of taking a true read step and either getting downhill or dropping, he would kind of bunny hop and be buzzing his feet and like he didn't know what to do. And so he played a little bit of indoor, and then we got him private workouts with the CFL and the XFL. And I had him work with a trainer in Lubbock, a former Texas Tech player who trained athletes, and we were able to do some drills and break that habit. And indoor ball, arena ball helped also break it because, like you said, the game is so fast. It's bang, bang. You don't have time to buzz your feet and be thinking and wondering what to do. It's you got to make a decision now and you got to go.
Yeah.
And I would say for QBs, if you're a QB that likes to hold the ball a little bit too long, the indoor and arena game is going to force you to get rid of the football, like because you're going to have people coming in, and there's only 3 linemen. They can only hold up the wall of protection so long. Like you're going to have to make a decision and get it gone. So I think it's good in a lot of senses for guys that come out of college ball that still maybe have some fundamental technique deficiencies that need some fine tuning. I think that's a huge thing. And so How did you end up doing with Billings? How was your production with them?
Um, I can't. I don't know my numbers exactly. I was
Okay.
one of the key guys. Got the ball in my hands a lot, made a lot of plays, a lot of touchdowns. But that's arena football, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, some games, some games you're the one with 3, 4 touchdowns. Other games you're taking the top off to get it to your guys, below you, just doing your job again. Um, Again, there's some games I had two touchdowns each. Some games I didn't score at all, but I had like 60, 70 yards per game, and such like that. Oh
Let
yeah,
me.
when it comes to numbers, I didn't really keep track of that because just the game was so, you
Yeah.
get it. If you get the ball, you do something with it. If not, then it is what it is. But either way it goes, like, people don't understand how much goes into arena football in that aspect there. I'm the motion guy. I'm fast, so
Mhm.
while I'm taking two with me off top, my dude's coming up underneath me on a dig route or something like that, wide open because I took the two. So it really depends because you have to play your role in any aspect there. They don't want you to score deep, so of course you have to be the decoy on this one. And then some games they're like, okay, you want to play me 1-on-1? Now I can score deep as many times as I want until I'm going deep and you have to put two people on me again, and now my dude's able to get his production. So in that aspect, still you're still playing your role, you're still doing what you're supposed to. And one of the things I love most about arena ball is half the time it was one-on-one battles. You press me at that line, you're not winning. Like I love the man aspect. I love being pressed because I don't lose. One-on-ones I don't lose, but it became a bit difficult when they felt the need to double you all the time, and you're taking the top off the defense and you got 2, 3 people with you, but your dude's wide open, and you wanna celebrate and be like, I did that, but at the end of the day, we're all doing our job. We're all doing what we're supposed to and playing our roles.
Yep. Um, a lot of guys come out of college and they don't get signed right away to the NFL, CFL, whatever. And they're telling people they want opportunities, and you present opportunities to them in different places. Um, and there's a lot of guys that turn their nose and say, "Oh, I'm not doing arena. I'm not doing indoor ball. Like, that's stupid. It's 8-on-8. It's 7-on-7. It's 50 yards playing on turf. I'm not doing that. Not playing for 200 or 300 bucks a week." Um, but yet you can see proof on the indoor football league site. You can see proof through social media postings that guys are getting camp invites to the NFL, CFL looks, UFL looks, previously XFL, USFL looks. How valuable do you feel that the arena and indoor world is for guys that leave college without those NFL and CFL looks right away to continue to build that resume and continue to develop and potentially open the eyes of potential general managers or scouts? Or I mean, you can go on YouTube and type in, how to evaluate receivers, and there are videos from NFL teams talking about their thought process and scouting evaluation process. And I was looking at one the other night, and one of the NFL scouts, directors of scouting, whatever, said, we always look at other leagues to find talent too, that there's always talent in these other leagues. What would you say to other former college players that say, no, man, I ain't doing arena. I ain't doing indoor ball. That's stupid. I'm not playing for 300 bucks a week. What would you say in that sense of, hey, it's a chance to continue your career and keep eyes on you? What would you say?
Play ball, man. Play ball. It's all a stepping stone. I truly believe when they say if you're good enough, they'll find you. I truly believe in that. Whether your end goal is the NFL, UFL, CFL, whatever the case may be, I truly believe that as long as you're stepping on that field, imposing your will, being dominant, doing what you're supposed to at the end of the day, you can have opportunities no matter where you go, whether that's indoor arena, overseas, wherever you go, as long as you play ball, you do your job, and you perform the way you're supposed to or need to, they will find you. We have proof of that. People have gone from arena to the league. You think about Kurt Warner himself. You know what I mean? Like he
I
went
was
from
getting ready to ask that question. I'm glad you said that.
he went from arena to the league. Like it's possible, you know. And I think about who was he? Turpin. I believe it was Turpin for the
Devontae
Cowboys.
Turpin, yeah.
Yeah, he went from indoor arena or fan league to the league itself. Like it's very possible. You just have to play. You just have to be willing to do it. And it's not. And sometimes it's for the love of the game. Sometimes it's not even about the money. Yeah, $200-$300 suck, but find a way to manage. Get a part-time job. You have time. It's doable. You know, willing that your coach lets you do that, but.
Yeah.
It's very doable in that instance there. You just need to play. You just need to be committed to what you want to do in life.
I get guys a lot of times that come through the works as a client. Yeah, just keep me signed. I'll take it from there. And you get them signed. And then they're just kind of happy to be there. They get in the game, they play a couple plays, a couple catches, a touchdown catch, and they go sit on the bench and call it a day. And then at the end of the season, they're mad at me because they're like, why didn't I get an NFL look? And it's like, you didn't go out there and ball out for 4 quarters. You didn't dominate every game. Like you got your 2 or 3 plays and went and sat down and called it a day and chilled the rest of the game. Like that doesn't catch the NFL's eyes. That's not what they want to see. Is that how you see it? I mean, do you have to have that dog mentality every game, or can you just be happy to be there and get a few plays here and there and think that's okay?
You got to be a dog. You got to be a dog. One of the biggest things too, I hate being taken out the game. I'm conditioned enough. Don't get tired. Don't take me out. I don't care if we up 50. Like, and it might sound a little selfish, but it's to the aspect of like, I got a job to do.
Yeah.
If you put somebody else in, you're giving them an opportunity to take my job.
Yep.
Especially if I'm getting paid for this, you're gonna get your money's worth. You know, at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what I have to do. Granted, again, sometimes there are times where if you're up 50 or something like that, let the next man go in, let him have a little bit of shine and stuff like that. But for the most part, like you got to be a dog. You got to want it more than the other person wants it. You got to want it more than, and you got to see the end goal every single time. The end goal is not, unless you want to make a career of arena or something like that, by any means. Do you want to get by? But if you really see yourself trying to move on up and find a different way, or be that anomaly in going to the NFL, going to the CFL, UFL, you have to be in the game. You have to stay in it. There's no room for anything lackadaisical in any of it. You know, you got to be a dog.
You talked about Kurt Warner, so I'm pretty sure you've seen the movie American Underdog. I've only seen it like 5 times. I found it on Roku on I think it was BYU's streaming channel. It was free. I watched it like 3 times there. Then I think it was on Tubi TV for a little bit for free, and I watched it like 2 or 3 times over there. So I'm very familiar because I've gotten players signed in previous years with the Barnstormers, and I tell that story all the time. And a lot of guys don't know that, and I tell them, go watch the movie. Like the movie is, yes, there's a little bit of Hollywood to it, but that story is pretty spot on with how his career went. Like, go watch and see. He didn't just get signed right away. He was bagging groceries. He was really doing those things. He did have to play arena ball. He did have a coach that didn't tell him that the NFL was calling because he was trying to win a championship before he let Kurt go. So, and then at the end of the movie, you see the real life Kurt Warner and you see his real life wife, and they confirm a lot of the details from the movie and their stats and things. He didn't just make it to the league. He won Super Bowls. Like, he's respected as the most. His story is one of the all-time underdog stories that, as it says in the end, in the NFL, like to this day, is still a prime example of taking the long route and still getting there. You talk about Devontae Turpin. I'll even throw another one in there. You probably had a chance to play against him. There's a guy named Darius Prince, who's also a receiver. Do you know Darius's story?
I don't know his whole story, no.
So Darius didn't play college ball. Darius played semi-pro ball, found his way to arena ball, won 2 championships with the Albany Empire, which is now the Albany Firebirds. Darius got a camp invite with the Philadelphia Eagles after winning 2 arena championships and dominating as an arena receiver. So he had his chance at the league. Now, yeah, he's still playing arena ball because the Eagles didn't, he did a great job in camp, but they didn't see a reason to move their roster around to put him on the roster. So he had to come back down the ladder and hope for another way to get up the ladder. But the fact is, he used arena and found his way into an NFL door, but he dominated in the arena league. He won championships. He balled out every week. So I would throw that one out there that's also a prime story. There's another guy that goes along with Darius named Malachi Jones, who also he played college ball, was at with the High Country Grizzlies, which was an American Arena League, which was kind of a Tier 2 level arena league. Moved his way up to the National Arena League. He got a camp invite with the Chicago Bears. So I can tell you at least 3 or 4 people that have used these platforms and moved on beyond all the screenshots of social media posts for the last 2 or 3 years. I can show you. Mm-hmm. My other question I'm curious about is, you played Division II and Division I ball. You've played in big stadiums and big time games, national TV. But those stadiums, the fans are at a distance away from you. Arena ball, there's the wall and there's the first row of seats. Like, the fans are right there. They're on the action. You might dump a DB over the wall blocking him. He may end up in somebody's lap eating their popcorn. Like, what was it like for you playing arena ball and having that real close interaction with the fans, and knowing at the end of the game you guys are asked to stay for like another hour signing autographs? I know in college Division I you didn't really have that. Y'all played a game and kind of went on off the field and went back to the locker room. What was it like the first time being right there with the fans and really interacting, and kids saying, "Hey, you're my hero. I'm your biggest fan. Are you coming back next season? Are you going to be here? Can I have your gloves? Can I have your wristbands?" What was that like for you?
To me, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. I remember growing up, and I didn't watch much arena growing up, but you watch a lot of football on TV and college and NFL, and all you can think about as a kid is like, I want to meet them. These guys are amazing. Like, I want to be like him. They were my heroes, and you get a little personal feeling with arena. Like, these kids are here, and you can be an idol to these kids. You can be somebody they look up to and be like, I want to be like this, and give them motivation and autographs and stuff like that. Not a lot of people get to meet the people that they watch on TV, Right. I remember I used to watch Randy Moss a lot, and all I could think about it is like, I want to be like Randy Moss. Like, I wish I could meet him. I wish I could sign an autograph. Get an autograph signed. I wish I could do this, and never having that chance, but seeing that these kids are there and they look up to you. You're a good model. You can show them the do's and the don'ts of the game as they're watching you. And on top of that, like, you're motivating them to do it for themselves. You're motivating them to be happy. They're getting the autograph signed. They're getting high fives. They're getting that little personal relationship that most people can't get anywhere else, Yeah. And again, to this day, I still know some kids that follow me on Instagram or something, and they'll be like, "Hey, where are you playing now?" And I'm like, like, I'm playing here, like, watch the game, blah, blah, blah. And you can have that personal relationship with these kids in order to motivate them. Hey, do you know any drills I can do for this? And I can actually be a stepping stone to helping them in the next generation. So to me, it was a real honor, to be able to be personal with some of the fans and some of the people like that. You get to meet a lot of the adults who have been fans for years, and that's a stepping stone in connections and things like that. Yeah. Hey, I own this business. If you need something, let me know. Hey, hey, we got some extra jobs open. If you ever need some extra cash and want to do some work, let us know, you know, and stuff like that. Just whatever the case may be. To me, it's a blessing in disguise to be able to play in a personal space like that. You know, NFL, CFL, UFL, you're not seeing the fans so much. You're not connecting with the kids so much. Yeah, they see you play, but they don't know you. In the aspect of arena ball, you can get to know the kids, you can get to know the families, you can get to know the people who are actually supporting you and the team, which is amazing to me.
There was a team a couple of years ago had some issues with sponsor restaurants and all that. And one of the families that were fans actually volunteered to cook for the entire team, had them in their home and sat them down and fed them all quality pregame meals or whatever, you know. And so I can agree with you. That's a different kind of fan interaction. So I'm curious, how many pairs of gloves did you go through? How many kids got a glove from?
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So many. I can't even. And to me, it's like, yeah, I have to buy new gloves afterward by any means. It's out of my pocket. But again, at the end of the day, you're thinking about these kids like, you know, it's just a pair of gloves. To me, to you, it could be something you look at for motivation for the rest of your life. You know, it could be something you look at and be like, oh, I remember seeing this as a kid. He gave me his gloves. I want to be like him. Let me go hit the field. Let me go do this. Let me go be like him. You know, I just think about that all the time. Like, it's a blessing. I still have this bracelet from this little girl who gave it to me. You're my favorite fan. Yeah, this is a little girl. You're my favorite fan. Can you take this? And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. And to me, it's motivation too. You know, I keep it on my wrist, and it reminds me of just of everything. You know, being the personal relationships you could build, being a motivation to the kids, an idol to the kids, being a good role model, just all of the above. Reminds me of where I want to be at the end of the day, so I can make a bigger lasting impact on more people and more other people. So yeah, I've got so many pair of gloves though. So many. I can't
Was there a pair of gloves that you bought that you really liked?
Yes.
And the kid asked you for a glove and you look down at it and like, golly, like I gotta give this up. Like I didn't want to give these up.
We played West Texas, and my brother lives out in Texas. We played West Texas. He came to the game, but I didn't have a pair of gloves then because I just gave away my other pair before, and I wasn't able to buy any. So my brother came. He gave me the gloves. Sent him the money. He gave me the gloves. Bought the gloves for me. And right after the game, I'm thinking to myself, like, these are pretty good. Like, these are still pretty good gloves. Like, I can keep these ones. Kids come up. I'm like, yeah, okay. Here you go. But again, to me, that's a small price to pay, you know, for the kids' motivation. You know, it's bigger than just a game at the end of the day. It's bigger than just my wants or just I need these for next games. It's all bigger than that. You know, if you can motivate a kid to do better in life or reach their goals, because growing up, they're gonna hear it a million times. You won't make the league. You won't make the league. You won't ever play football for anybody big. Like I've heard it my whole life, you know. And if you can motivate a kid just to keep pushing, ignore the noise, just keep going, like that's worth more than any pair of gloves at all. Period.
It's weird because you basically read my mind. Because one of the questions I always ask is about being a role model, and the importance of the image you portray on and off the field. And you basically just answered that in a huge way. So I that's just one less question I gotta ask. I'm curious, you know, like Phenom Elite, they make uniforms, gloves. They've had contracts with some of the arena leagues and stuff. They've got a pair of gloves that have like the Joker face on them, and you put the hands together, of course, in Joker face or whatever. Are there gloves that you like to wear that have a specific design? Do you have a specific design that you like? Okay, I gotta wear those. That's me.
No, not personally. They all, as long as they do their job, right? As long as they're a little bit sticky or whatever, as long as you can use them, to me, they're fine. And especially with the mindset after this last season with the Outlaws, when I was giving away so many, I was just like, okay. To me, I think it symbolizes more of just having a pair of gloves to give out rather than this specific pair of gloves that look cool. Like, to me, that's all for show. That's all fun and all. But yeah, no specific one. And when you spoke about the role model part too, like, it goes hand in hand with your social media and all that other stuff along with it. You have to be careful how you portray yourself. Of course, everybody has bad things that they could post, but it's like, are these kids gonna look, so let me not post this, or are these, you just gotta portray yourself in the best way possible, because you never know who's watching, you never know who's looking. And again, being in that instance there, being a role model to the kids, if they check your pages and see you up to bad stuff, they're gonna want to do it too. So why would you even have anything like that on social media? Or again, it's so much bigger than who you are or what your wants are as a person like that. Yes, I want to save money on these gloves, but at the same time, I want to see these kids smile. I want to give them a reason to keep striving for whatever they dream of.
I think that's just big time commendable. I think we live in a society where social media has kind of gotten out of control. It's really used for what it's not supposed to be used for. It was created and designed for people to keep up with friends and family, but it's turned into a way where people try to look cool, people try to grab attention, people use it to air dirty laundry as far as relationships and different things of that nature. I really believe that it's more negative than good. If I didn't use it for hidden gems, I probably wouldn't be on it, truthfully. I've got a chat group, Facebook, where a bunch of guys I served in the military with, we're in a group together and we check on each other and talk to each other. And but if it wasn't for hidden gems and using it for you guys, I wouldn't be on it most likely, because I just think it's turned into something it wasn't really intended for. But it's part of society, part of life now, and I think, like you said, as an athlete, you have to be really cognizant of what you put out there and the way it's portrayed, because it can reflect negative character, professionalism, things like that. So that's a big thing. Like with the player scouting agreement, we try to make sure that athletes know, like, we expect you to conduct yourself professionally on a social media level too. Because like you said, fans are looking, they are watching and wanting to connect and stuff. So I think you do have to be mindful of what you put out there. Talking about on the field, there's typically two types of leaders. When you look at the flip side of the coin, role model, now we talk about leadership. On the field, there's two types of leaders usually. There's the quiet, lead by example, bring your lunch pail to work kind of leader. And then there's that loud, boisterous, rah-rah kind of leader, the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds. Which type of leader are you, and why do you say that?
I'm definitely a lead by example type of guy. Until I have to get loud, I believe there's no better words than my actions in that instance. There, if I can make this big play to show you I'm motivated, I'm here, I can do whatever I can to help this team win. By any means, that's what I'm gonna do first. If I see you moping, if I see you down, then I'm in here like, come on, we got it, let's go. Like, we're all good. The game's not over. But I'm definitely a lead by example guy. I feel like the words are useless until you're showing yourself,
Right.
Growing up, you have a lot of dudes you play with throughout the years that are rah-rah guys, but aren't handling their assignment. In that instance, I always think to myself, like, you can't be a vocal leader if you're not the one handling your business first. So you always got to go into it with the mindset of, let me do my job, let me lead by example, show you how it's done. Everybody follow along from there. If I see you down, I see you moping, I see you sad. If I need to speak up, I'll definitely do that too. But for the most part, I'll show you how it's done. and let's all get this going. I'll do my 1/8 if I'm in arena, 1/11 if I'm in outdoor playing football. Like, I'll do my responsibilities first. I'll show you how it's done, and then from there, if you need me to be vocal in your ear, I can definitely do that too. Don't get me wrong. But I like the aspect of always leading by example. There's nothing bigger than being able to do it, being able to show it before you even say it.
I figured that was kind of going to be along the lines of your answer just by talking about the interaction with the fans, and I can definitely see you as that person that leads by example in all aspects of being a football player. And I would imagine that you're gonna have a brilliant answer for this one too. I'm sure. You talked about the kids looking up to you and other guys playing arena ball, whatever, as their heroes and favorite players, role models, things like that. Who did you look up to coming up through the ranks, and who do you currently look up to as far as like maybe in the NFL? Doesn't even have to be your position group. I mean, it could be another position player, or it could not even be an athlete. I mean, it could be a coach, a former professor, teacher, parent, relative, best friend, anybody.
Quite a bit, actually. Honestly, I take motivation from everyone. I'm taking motivation from you and what you're doing right here now, and being a voice for people like me who feel unseen half the time, and being that stepping stone. I take motivation from everything in life. I've had to take the hard way in life for a lot of things, just for eating meals, living life, just for finding housing, everything. Grew up watching Randy Moss a lot. Loved how dominant he is. Loved how good he was with the way he spoke to his teammates, the way he led by example in getting the job done and such like that. But at the same time, you think about movies like, I don't know if you've seen Invincible, another walk-on. You know what I mean? The dude who just walked onto the team, messed up his ribs, had to go the extra mile in order to prove himself to his team, started on punt, got down, made the hit, and you just take motivation from everything in life, because life, there's no straight shot. Take motivation from everybody who's made the league. Take motivation from everybody who's failed. Like, you're able to learn on and off from every single thing that you go through. And it's just every day is a learning lesson in that experience. Another reason to be motivated. Turpin, Warner, Prince, like you said, Malachi, like all of them. You just take motivation in everything that you hear and you see. It's possible. But why not me at the end of the day? If I work hard, if I keep my head down, if I do what I'm supposed to, why not me? You got the talent, you got the skill. I even take motivation. I remember in third grade, a teacher trying to write out to me, like, only 0.03% of people ever make or be seen by the league. Like, that's motivation in me. So I look up to it all. The bad, the good, the negative. You're in my ear telling me I'm not good enough. It's motivation. You're in my ear telling me I am good enough. It's motivation. No matter what, I look up to everybody in that instance. You learn from everybody. Life. There's no set timeline. There's no set. It's all about the end goal. It's not about how you get there. It's as long as you get there. So.
You mentioned Invincible. What was your favorite part of that movie with Mark Wahlberg?
It had to be the fingers. Had to be. I don't know if you know, when he was on the line and it'll show you like his knuckles turn white. Just you again. You take motivation in that. People learning the itsy bitsy things you need to know in football. Like
his teammate got tired of seeing him get whipped in 1-on-1, so when he comes back in the dorm room, he pulled him down on the floor and said, "Look at my knuckles! Look at my knuckles! What color are they?" He was like, "Huh? What? What color are my freaking knuckles?" He was like, "Oh, they're red. What does that mean?" And he, like you said, he went through the teaching lesson. Now, what color are they? They're white. What does that mean? And so the next day at practice, like you said, he goes out there and he looks down at the guy's hand in front of him. He's like, "Oh, that's what he was talking about."
Yeah.
Now he knows how to attack it because he knows what's getting ready to happen to him. So I thought that was a pretty cool scene in the movie. I think just the fact, and that's been the only time ever in the NFL there's been an open tryout ever. Um, and, you know, to not have played college ball like that and to come out there and run a 40 and they're like, you know how fast you ran? He's like, no. What, like, how fast did I run? You know, like, it's pretty daggone fast back in the 70s, of course.
Yeah.
And then to understand, hey, in order to find my way onto the field, I'm probably going to have to do special teams and prove myself. He didn't just do special teams and prove himself. Like, he was kamikaze. Like, he would run around throwing his body all over the place, diving out, hitting people, and helicopter spinning, whatever, diving over the top. I mean, the guy was like bananas, you know, but it got the attention of the coaches and it got him playing time, you know. And so I think you're right. There's not a set pattern or path. And I think that if you truly want to achieve those dreams and goals, there's a way to do it. You just have to be open-minded and willing enough to maybe take a left turn or a right turn instead of staying on the main street. Sometimes you may have to detour and take a block and come back around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do. I think those were some of the more interesting parts of that movie. And again, I also, what we talked about earlier, in practice, you know, he's going all out, and the veterans are like, dude, you got to stop making us look bad. He's like, no, I'm good, you know, and the coaches get onto him, and it's a thing where, as a veteran, you can become complacent and you can start slacking off, and when a hungry, determined, like you said, walk on, so to speak, is out there trying to survive every day and earn a spot, you can get made look real bad real quick, and that's what happened. And I thought that was pretty cool that they got irritated because he kept outrunning them and he was running further than them, and the coaches were talking about, you know, wish you do what he did, and um, even in the movie Rudy, they talked about, you know, if you have 1/10 of the heart this guy had, you know, and so I think some guys forget that coaches and scouts and people, they still look for those things. They don't just look for the fact that, you know, you can be a playmaker or whatever. They look for heart. They look for character. They look for drive and want to and determination. I think those are just as big a deal. So, man, I watch Invincible every chance I get. I used to own the DVD. I couldn't tell you how many times I watched that movie. So
I love that.
There's probably not a football movie I haven't seen. You want to go through a quiz of football movies? I can take you all the way back to what was it? North Dallas 40. Brian Song, the former Chicago Bear. What was his name? Brian. He was there with Gale Sayers. He had cancer or something and passed away. Man, I can take you all the way back to some old movies. The Program. That's one of my favorites. If you haven't seen The Program, you ain't seen no football movies. The Program's got this really good part in it where they're in camp and they put on Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle. And they're doing Oklahoma drill, and people are flying and getting smacked around and helicoptered and flipped upside down, and heads banging, and God. And then there's a defensive lineman named Latimer, and he's on steroids. And of course, the coaches are trying to cheat, not see it, because he's, you know, when he's in that mode, he's dominant, but when he's not in that mode, he's not that great. In the last game of the season, the middle linebacker tears an ACL and he's out, and Latimer's got to be the leader. And so he paints this skull on his face. I mean, his whole face is painted like a real live Halloween skull. And he's in the mirror doing his makeup and stuff. And the coach calls him up in the locker room to talk to him. And he turns around and he's like, ring the effing bell, let them all die. And he's got his helmet. He's like, going crazy. I'm like, that dude's gonna kill somebody. And sure enough, like, of course, the way it's set up in the movie, the first play he comes off the line of scrimmage, and he literally about clotheslines a running back, about takes his head off, and the kid's laying on the ground, and you can see the bubbles coming out of his nose. And Latimer gets right on top of him. He's like, I don't think you got it, buddy. And snot bubbles coming out.
Oh, jeez.
Like, you gotta, if you ain't ever watched the program, you gotta go out there online and watch the program. That's like a football movie connoisseur. That's one of the all-time greats. Like, there's so many great scenes in there. They bring in a rookie running back, and him and the veteran are butting heads, and veteran's got a girlfriend, and she meets the rookie running back on this campus tour, and he starts flirting and stuff. And of course, the veteran comes over. He's like, "Hey, my name is Ray Griffin, starting tailback." And the rookie's like, "My name is Darnell Jefferson. I am the tailback." And so, all those little, internal battles, and Darnell in a practice fumbles the football, and the coach, he gets knocked on the ground, fumbles the ball, and the coach comes over. He goes, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Well, hurt, you can still play, but if you're injured, you can't play anymore. Like, so which one are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm hurt." He was like, "That's a hell of a run." He goes through the speech about, think how great it would be if you didn't fumble the ball. And the coach turns around and tells the team, he's like, "Darnell's going to be carrying this football all over campus. If he fumbles this football, and if anybody else brings this football back to me, he's going to wish he had never been born." And so he's in class, and he's sitting on, in the desk listening to the professor. He's got the football in his hand, 5 points of pressure, and he starts dozing off. And one of the linemen are sitting behind him, and the lineman punches the ball out, and he goes rolling down, down the class, and it ends up in front of the professor. Well, all the football players jump up, and they're climbing over desks and jumping over people and trying to get the ball, and they all go like just a tidal wave all the way down to the professor, and they stop like 6 inches from his feet. And Darnell comes out of it, and he's like, "Oh, he's like, forgot my ball." So, like, there's so many great scenes in that movie. That's a definite you got to watch.
It's called The Program.
The Program. Like, if you don't get excited watching that movie, like wanting to go out and bang heads, there's a real problem with any football player that watches that. If you don't get like hyped up and ready to go and want to go out and paint your face and bang heads, like, there's a problem. Like, just so many classic lines and scenes in that movie. Alvin Mack, the linebacker, he would get himself psyched up before a play, and he'd be like, calling dudes out, and "You're that guy that got my baby sister pregnant, and I'm gonna rip," all this stuff. And oh man, it was classic. Like, that's classic.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch it.
Varsity Blues. Oh man, the list goes on and on. There's so many great ones. Golly. The original, The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds, and then obviously Adam Sandler remade it. There's another Longest Yard 3 coming out with Adam Sandler in it, and somebody else is in it too. It's another big time star gonna be in this one. I think it's The Rock, maybe, is gonna be in the third one. So, yeah. And then obviously The Rock's TV show Ballers. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I fit right into Ballers. Like, I'm doing kind of the same thing he was doing in that TV show. So, yeah, man, there's all sorts of great football movies, though. But The Program is like top of the line. Like, that's a must. At least a couple times a year. At least a couple times a year. Football season starts, you got to watch The Program. Like, that kind of gets the football mindset going. So, I got a question, and we were talking about it offline, but when the game is over, when the final game has been played, you hang your cleats up for the final time, whether it's your body says, hey, look, we've taken a beating over the years, this is the end of the line, or you just conscientiously sit down and say, I'm ready to turn the page in the book. I'm ready to start a new chapter. Where does Dallas go? What's your goals? What's your plans? What's your dreams? What's your ambitions outside the game of football?
Outside the game of football, like we talked about, I'm in my master's program to become a counselor for mental health and disabilities. Plan to get my doctorate after that, but as of right now, just again, become a counselor for those with mental health and disabilities. I spent outside of my regular jobs, I spent a lot of time working in group homes for the disabled, teaching new ways to cope and live life, teaching them the simple things about life, making their life a little bit easier, brushing their teeth, washing their body, giving them assistance in any way they need, cooking meals for them. Just in any aspect there, I've always enjoyed that aspect of things, trying to help them grow. And a lot of people look at the disabled like they're not human. There's some sort of something, they shouldn't be around us or whatever. I just think of it as somebody who needs a little more assistance, Yeah. And I'm more than willing to do that for them. Again, that's the counseling for the disabilities part. The mental health part would be on your day-to-day basis with everybody. Everybody has mental health, whether you're the biggest, baddest, toughest man in the world or not, And mental health could be something as simple as what we're doing right here. We're talking, we're getting it out, we're having conversations. Just talking about football, talking about life, talking about anything like that. That's the mental health aspect of things. Everybody needs somebody to talk to. Whether you feel like you do or you don't, like if you say you don't, you're lying. Like humans aren't made to be so solidified and stuff like that. So just the aspect of there after football, I just want to try and make my way into that type of world. Again, going through my master's classes right now for it. And me and my brother have this saying, although we're not superheroes, we're here to save the world, But of course, we're not going to save the world. Don't get me wrong. But
never know.
Just, doing our little,
one person at a time.
Yeah, our little 1%, one person at a time, one something. If I can have a casual conversation with somebody and deter them from harming themselves for a day, or deter them from making a big mistake that's going to change their life, if I can help the disabled and make their life a little bit easier. Oh, Dallas taught me how to cope with this. I'm mad, but let me do 5 points of breathing, 5 points of, just different types of things. And to me, I won, So
it's kind of like the movie, Creed, when Rocky Balboa is training Apollo's son, one punch at a time, one step at a time, one round at a time. So it's kind of the same concept, one person at a time, 1% at a time, You never know how many people you can touch and affect. And I think that's a commendable goal and commendable plan for the future. So sounds like you're well on your way. Now, this last question is probably the most difficult question that I ask in these interviews. It's a 3-part question. So I'm going to need you to really lock in on this one. You got to get that game face on. EA Sports, they took college football away from us a few years ago. They gave it back to us finally after you guys all came to the table and worked out some agreements and all that kind of stuff. So first part of the question is, college football 2025, do you own it? B, have you played it? And C, if you have played it, who are you running with?
I own it. I played it. And I got to go with the chips. Come on now. I've been franchising them up. You feel me? For the past couple months. They went from like a C+ team to an A+ team. We got it going on now.
Now, who would be the player to watch on that roster? Who's the big dog on the roster?
On my college football team, or like in real life?
I mean, I'm sure you're in the game, so I'm just curious.
I'm not. They didn't. They had me in, but it was my time's over.
So you didn't get in the newest version of the game? Seriously, like
No,
you're not in the
I
in the
don't.
roster
I
for
don't
anything?
believe so. I think there was somebody who was me, but it wasn't my name. It wasn't. It was for our roster too. My years
Okay.
being there, but it wasn't my name. Like it was the year after me, which was unfortunate.
So you didn't get the payment for the video game then, the player payment?
No,
Oh wow. Okay. All
I
right.
was a year late. If I got my year back, I would have been in it, but
But you still
unfortunate.
run with the chips, so you building them up into powerhouse then.
Oh man, yeah, we got moved to the Big Ten and all.
Man, okay. I also wanted to ask you, did you guys play Michigan State by chance when you were at Central Michigan?
Nah, we
No.
played like Oklahoma State,
Okay.
LSU, Missouri, but I never got a chance to play against Michigan State.
Okay. All right. Because we have a DB that came on about the same time you did, Angelo Gross, who was a corner at Michigan State.
Yeah,
And his I got to know him a little bit over the phone and stuff, and it's really ironic with him. He's from the state of Ohio. He was a big time high school player in Ohio, and he spurned his own home state to go northward. And I was like, man, I bet they give you all sorts of trouble when you come home.
yeah, they got to.
Because I know the rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State, Michigan State, all them different schools right there. And I was like, man, I bet you hate going home, don't you? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I have a brother that plays for Michigan State now. I was like, oh man, y'all just get it all the way around. Like, y'all didn't just like upset them. Y'all turn around and rub it in their face now. Like, two of you done gone north, and we
Mm-hmm.
started laughing, and Dad laughed about it too. So I wasn't sure because he was there at Michigan State by the time you were at Central Michigan. So I didn't know if you two ever crossed paths or not.
Yeah, yeah. No, I never got a chance to meet him
Oh, okay.
or
I got
Michigan State at all, unfortunately.
I gotcha. Well, listen, we're at that point. I want to thank you for taking time out tonight to sit down with me and do this interview. I hope you found it meaningful. I hope you found the questions to be relevant to the mission at hand. We try to make sure we keep it topic wise, things that scouts, GMs, player personnel directors want to know. Um, I'm looking forward to working with you. I can't wait to get started as far as talking to the NFL, CFL, UFL, seeing which doors we can open up, how we go about progressing up the ladder. This has been a thoroughly impressive interview. I really appreciate the fact that you put some thought into your answers. You actually conversated with me. Sometimes I do these interviews and the answers on the other end are one word or short phrase, and that's they just sit there and it's kind of like, okay, what do we talk about next? Like it doesn't really flow. This one flowed. It was fun. I think we covered some things and got to know you as a person and learned a little bit about you as a football player on the field, the way you think about some things. And so I really do appreciate that. So thank you so much for taking time out of your night. I told you we'd try to hurry up. It's been about an hour and 43 minutes, so a little bit over the time frame. I do apologize,
It's all
but
right. No worries.
like I said, I will we'll get this on your profile page. That page is up and running, and if there's any scouts or GMs or player personnel directors or coaches that see this in the coming days, UFL, CFL, etc., and you want to talk to us about Dallas, please feel free to call, text, direct message, email. You can reach us through our social media pages. You can reach us through direct email or phone call that's on our website. You've got social media. I know which
Yep.
platforms are you on? You want to share your user handle? Or?
Facebook, Dallas Dixon, just my name. You'll see a picture
Right.
of my big face in there. And and then Instagram double_D.2. That's all I really use. Just like you said earlier, if it wasn't for needing to connect with people or showing that image for football and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't have social media either. I'm not such a big guy on it, but outside of that, those are the only two platforms I use. Yeah. Appreciate you having me, though. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I've really enjoyed this, and Coach Behan and I were talking, and we're really excited about having you on, and we think that you're a big time prospect, and we really are excited about trying to open the bigger doors for you and seeing where you land and what you do next. So, thank you for trusting us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you. It means a lot to us. So. I'll be in touch over the weekend, and hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do, and we'll catch up here in a day or so.
Okay, for sure. Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to everybody that watched and everybody that will see this. We appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody back here. We'll fine tune this new streaming platform that we're utilizing and try to get it back to the way we would normally do it. So.